We are prepared to provide admission for up to 50 undergraduate students sometime during the course of the next 12 months, with the understanding that within the limits of the resources which we have, and this of course is one of the very serious constraints that we have, but within the limited resources we have, that financial assistance to such students would be forthcoming, and that we will make every effort to seek additional funds from federal government sources or from private sources to make it possible to finance such a program.
That was Chancellor J. Martin Clouchy's response to the protests and demands made by the Committee for the Education of Latin Americans back in 1970. The demands were based on a movement which began in the late 1960s as a group of Latino students enrolled at UWM began to realize the discrimination and segregation that the Latino community of Milwaukee was facing in the UW system. They started a string of protests and demands for better representation and resources on campus.
We had initially sent communications to the Chancellor's office about meeting with him, but had not had a satisfactory response.
That was a statement made by Jesus Salas in an interview led by the RHC. He was one of the UWM students who was part of the movement back in 1970.
In lieu of a satisfactory response is the proposed takeover of the Chancellor's office.
The takeover that Mr. Salas mentions took place on August 27th of 1970, where approximately 200 Latinos staged a sit-in as a sign of protest in Chancellor Clouchy's office located in Chapman Hall. This sit-in was promptly followed by negotiations that led to the creation of the Spanish-Speaking Outreach Institute on the UWM campus. Felipe Rodriguez Jr. was recently a professor in the School of Education at UWM. His master's degree thesis was focused on the role of the Hispanic community in shaping the mission, goals, objectives, and operations of the Spanish-Speaking Outreach Institute from 1970 to 1971.
The person who led the movement itself was led by Roberto Hernandez, who was one of the most active leaders in the city of Milwaukee during the 1970s.
And what did these sit-ins accomplish?
Actually, the sit-ins, it created the institute, which gave the students in that community what they were looking for, allowing them, to take control of recruitment and retention of Latino students, and as well as facilitating the Latinos community's access to university courses and programs.
The center is still up and running today, but it is no longer called the Spanish-Speaking Outreach Institute. It is now known as the Roberto Hernandez Center, or the RHC to the students. Alberto Maldonado is currently the interim director of the center. As a graduate of UWM, he knows the mission statement of the RHC by heart.
The mission of the Roberto Hernandez Center is to serve the Latino students not only at UWM, but also in southeastern Wisconsin and beyond, through a three-pronged mission, right? To provide academic services that promote Latino student success, to engage in outreach and proactive outreach to the Latino community and beyond, and to also support applied research pertinent to Latinos.
The RHC is open to serve the 2,224 Hispanic students who are currently enrolled at UW Milwaukee as of 2016. This makes up a total of 9% of the 27,000 students who are currently enrolled. Nonetheless, they are not stopping at that number because in October of 2016, Chancellor Mark Money, along with the RHC's interim director, Alberto Maldonado, have revealed their goal of making UW Milwaukee the first Hispanic-serving institution in the state of Wisconsin. This means that they plan to increase the Hispanic enrollment at UW Milwaukee to a minimum of 25% of the total enrollment at the university within the period of 10 years.